Lords, I rise in support of the bill. If fully enacted, the legislation before us has the potential to provide tangible solutions that will free Northern Ireland from the grip of the crippling protocol arrangements and restore our rights as British citizens to trade freely with the rest of our own nation under Article 6 of the Acts of Union. Nobody who values the Union supports barriers remaining in place between Northern Ireland and the rest of this nation. Equally, nobody who values devolved governance in Northern Ireland should countenance the protocol, as it has undermined the principle of consent and has dealt a blow to consensus-building politics. If we do not act now, we are reaching a critical point where, after the full implementation of the protocol, Northern Ireland will be subject to an ever-expanding series of laws being imposed by a foreign entity without any say or vote by elected representatives in Northern Ireland. As the rest of the United Kingdom has secured its freedom to deregulate or go in a different direction as it relates to aid or taxation, Northern Ireland will be left behind and will face fresh restrictions and challenges simply because it is tied to the protocol. Indeed, the trade friction that now exists between Northern Ireland and Great Britain is fuelling the cost of living crisis in Northern Ireland and is restricting consumers' choice. My Lords, the Northern Ireland Protocol is not only sustainable in its form, it is incompatible with the Acts of Union. It threatens the sovereignty of this nation and it undermines devolved governance, which requires cross-community buy-in and support if it is to fully function. The bill, as it stands, provides a clear framework to addressing many of the issues outlined today. It provides a framework to removing the European Court of Justice as the ultimate arbiter of the protocol, smoothing the passage of goods from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, and to bringing Northern Ireland fully back into the UK's VAT and excise duty regime. My Lords, this bill must pass and its regulation-making powers must be fully deployed as quickly as possible in order to avert impending political crisis in Northern Ireland. My Lords, we must not waste any more time talking about checks. The economic problem is not the checks, but the paralysing cost implications of applying third country certification burdens on the qualitatively very different consignment of goods that flow within, as with GB Northern Ireland trade, rather than between economies, which makes trading uneconomic. If the protocol was ever implemented economically, and let's not forget, thankfully, it has never been because of the grace periods, hauliers have made it absolutely clear that the certification costs associated with taking goods from Great Britain to Northern Ireland would make that undertaking uneconomic, and Northern Ireland's supply chains would break down within 24 hours, creating an existential economic crisis for part of our United Kingdom. Similarly, the political problem is not at root the checks, but the fact that the people of Northern Ireland have been degraded as a result of their rights to make laws in some 300 areas being taken from them. Their values of their vote has been diminished, and every time a new law is imposed on Northern Ireland by the EU, the human rights provisions in the Belfast Agreement with respect to political engagement are violated. That violation cuts to the quick, with the knowledge that while the people of England, Wales, Scotland and the Republic of Ireland must have the right to stand for election or vote to elect people to make all the laws to which they are subject, the people of Northern Ireland must be subject to the unique and deeply distressing indignity of being told that they do not always deserve to be afforded the same level of respect. My Lords, this bill may be needed, and it needed urgently, and I would strongly urge all noble lords to pass it today, and certainly without any 6 months' delay. Quite apart from anything else, this will strengthen the government's negotiating hand, while a 6 months' delay would simply weaken it. I support the bill.